So, weather once again puts an end to what was an amazing race. Let's talk about it. Hey guys, Ryan here, and I just got done watching the Quaker State 400 from AtlantaMotorSpeedway, and oh man, I'm really conflicted about this race. Honestly, I mean, it was an amazing race. But just the way it finished felt really odd because it felt like we kind of all knew the rain was coming, and NASCAR decided instead of trying to rush them back to a restart to maybe get a final 2-3 lap shootout in, they opted to pace this thing out, and yeah. I'm not sure how I feel about it. Again, it kind of just handed the win to the guy who ultimately was leading at the time when they called the caution. And ultimately, it does feel like a deserving winner. Obviously, William Byron getting his 4th win of the season, so putting him very squarely in championship front-running form here. But yeah, when it comes to just kind of the way that this ended up working out, though, it just doesn't feel quite. There's something missing. I feel like I'm missing about a final 2-lap shootout again. I wish we'd gotten one final restart here to end off the race, but ultimately it got rain shortened. We played a little bit of Mario Kart on the stream, but yeah, so the rain shortened race ultimately it felt like it kind of it definitely stole the show because it was an amazing race up until that point. We had a photo finish for stage 1. Stage 2 ended up finishing under yellow after a very back and forth battle. And I say Ryan Blaney holding off Ricky Stenhouse Jr. for the first stage, and then the second stage ends up going to Brad Keselowski after a crash. For me, Michael McDowell, seeing him earn stage points in both stages and finishing 3 points above the cut line after this race. We'll talk more about the point cut line probably in another video later this week. But yeah, seeing that kind of cut line battle though, and seeing it starting to actually go and be as tight as it is really exciting for me, and honestly should be for all of you guys as well. But yeah. But yeah, Michael McDowell earning points in both stages, getting points in stage 1 and stage 2, and then ultimately, surviving this race when he was on the verge of being out of fuel. I don't know, hard to tell exactly when his last pit stop was, but he was on, I think it was like close to 100 laps since his last pit stop, so yeah, he desperately needed to pit. If they had run too many more pace laps, I thought they were going to run him out of fuel, and I was going to not be very happy. But ultimately, though, McDowell comes home 4th. Kyle Busch with the top 5. I'm going to put the rest of the top finishers over here, and yeah. So there's the top 10 finishers here in the race. Obviously, you got William Byron winning his 4th race. Daniel Suarez coming 1 spot off of the Trackhouse 3-peat, which would have been insane to see Trackhouse win 3 races in a row with 3 different drivers. That would have been insane to see. Obviously, Shane Van Gisbergen winning last week, and then the week before that was Ross Chastain winning at Nashville. So again, 3 weeks in a row, that would have been 3 wins, but still a great points day for Daniel Suarez. He's now back above the cut line. AJ Allmendinger needed a big chunk of points to even have really a shot at being in the conversation. I think he's now showing as 15, 16 points out, so he still needs a little bit more work, but a 3rd place finish here. He's well on his way. 2 more road courses left in the regular season, plus the Daytona season finale. I think he has a good shot at getting in the playoffs. But problem is, I can say that about a lot of drivers around that cut line, and only a few of them can actually fit into that playoff picture. Then you've got Michael McDowell, who earned points in both stages, putting himself above the cut line in terms of points, and Kyle Busch, the other driver who had 3 wins coming into this race, him and Byron. Byron now is the solo leader in race wins this season. Kyle Busch, though, coming home with a top 5, going to be a good point stay. Potentially just going to pad his points towards trying to get a good regular season standings finish. Brad Keselowski looked very competitive, just like he did in the spring race, and once again comes up just short of the win. This time, he ends up finishing 6th place after a lot of drama on the day. But he comes home with a stage win and a 6th place finish in the race. Not bad. J.J. Yaley, one of those underdogs that only really gets spotlighted at tracks like this, and massive credit to him. It was a strategy call to stay out, but hey, it ended up paying off with the top 10 here at Atlanta. So massive congratulations to J.J. Yaley. And a name that sounds a lot like Yaley, it's Justin Haley. In 8th place. Good day for a young driver who really has just struggled to really find a consistent mark for himself. And then you have Ryan Blaney, who won stage number 1, also coming up a bit short of the performance that he kind of hoped to have. And again, if you give them another 5 laps, I think both him and Keselowski were going to be challenging for the race win. And then Ricky Stenhouse Jr. rounding out your top 10. Stenhouse, just another solid plate racer. He's already got a win, so this ultimately feels a little less meaningful than it normally would for him, where he'd be padding his points right now, but he's already got his he's already got his win, so he's in the playoffs, so. But yeah, that's a quick rundown through the top 10, but I really just really quickly want to talk about and feature the absolutely insane race we saw here today. Because honestly, if anyone was on the fence about whether or not Atlanta Superspeedway should be a thing, I think this race, certainly, I don't know if it necessarily makes or breaks that decision as to whether or not this race should be a thing, like this track should be a thing. But I think it has at least validated having a date on the calendar. Now, I don't necessarily think Atlanta needs to. I think maybe you could go ahead and give one of Atlanta's dates to maybe the Nashville Fairgrounds if that ends up coming back. Or, I mean, I'd like a second race in New Hampshire, but again, I don't think we need a second race in New Hampshire. Not to mention it's hard to find time where the weather is actually good up here to fit a second race in. So, yeah. But again, I would like to maybe see only one race at Atlanta Superspeedway, try and build it into an event. Because over the course of the weekend, that's really what I feel like watching the F1 races versus the NASCAR races, is that every race feels like an event because it's the only race in that track, and or in a lot of cases, it's the only race in that country for the year for that team or for that series. So again, I feel like building up a big event and having one, say, 4th of July, I think should be the, I think maybe moving this either, like even this year where it will occasionally fall on 4th of July or 4th of July weekend-ish, I think would be a good place for it, and replace its spring date maybe with, again, maybe Nashville Fairgrounds, maybe you end up replacing that with another track. I've been a proponent that's been saying I think they need to build a track in the Northwest, but again, building a track is not cheap, and I don't think they will really do it. Maybe that's where they could find room for, say, a second Dover or Nashville Superspeedway race while they're waiting for the Nashville Fairgrounds to be usable. Or maybe they completely surprise us with something new, but yeah, again, I think Atlanta definitely has shown why it is a track on the NASCAR schedule, but I wish that this was a big event in the terms of it's a one race a year. I think it could do with one race a year. With Daytona, they've spent so long building up 2 events. Even Talladega, I think you could maybe justify only one race, but I think 2 races is fine for Talladega. Again, I'm not saying that the racing is bad. Today's race was amazing. I just don't think we need 6 super speedways on the schedule. And I think reducing it to 5 would be good. But again, it depends on what you're going to replace it with. But yeah, so ultimately though, the racing today was incredible. Top finishers again, as we said, it was a pretty crazy race. Ultimately got shuffled up quite a bit due to fuel strategy and not knowing when the rain was going to come. The only thing I wish is that NASCAR either would have brought them down pit road earlier so that we didn't waste laps wondering necessarily if we were going to go back racing. Like, if it's sprinkling hard enough to warrant that we're going to be under yellow, just bring them down pit road. Because I was worried that they were either going to run McDowell out of fuel and or that they were going to have an issue in terms of the, basically drivers running out of fuel was kind of the main concern while they were pacing around. But it was also just kind of, it felt like they dragged on the finish of the race when they could have brought them down and at least said, okay, we're in a weather hold. Because it felt like with them pacing around, it's like, it kind of gave the anticipation that they could go back racing almost any minute, but ultimately they were never going to, so I don't know. Again, it was a weird feeling to a race, but ultimately the race did have a legitimate winner, though. Massive credit to William Byron, his 4th win of the season, and he should be firmly one of the Championship 4 contenders, or at least he should have a deep playoff run at this point. But yeah. Man, great race though, and hopefully you guys enjoyed too. If you guys missed it, I did live stream this. I did do live commentary of this race, and of course I'll be doing it for New Hampshire next week. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you guys did, leave a like on the stream or on the video, and subscribe if you guys are new so you guys don't miss any future videos. We did also hit 2,250 subscribers finally, so we hit that landmark and looking for 2,300 now is the next goal. Would love to see if we could hit that by my birthday next month, but honestly, I'm not sure if we can, so maybe you guys can surprise me. But until next time, this has been Ryan Dyer on YouTube, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. I'll see you guys next video. Live stream, whatever you guys had to do with the rest of your day. Have a great day, everybody, and goodbye!